Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This video is a VR to B at Ikale Sunflower. B created a tag called My Thoth or Thoth-Inspired Deck Collection, I think. I will link it in the cards, don't you worry. But in her video, she talks about how despite the fact that she doesn't work with the Thoth system, and she's not into the original Thoth deck at all, and neither am I. She has managed to acquire a few Thoth-inspired decks. And so she was wondering how others in the community felt about Thoth, their experiences with Thoth, and any decks that we might have. And it definitely got me to thinking. I have not had any previous desire to learn the Thoth. I don't know much about it at all, hardly anything. I don't know much about Aleister Crowley, except for the things you hear through the grapevine. He sounds like quite a character. In any case, I have not done any research to validate these claims. I have had no interest whatsoever in Aleister Crowley. But given that I have been kind of making my way through the different tarot systems, it's a natural progression that I would, at some point in the future, learn the Thoth system. So I do think that is going to happen. It's just not going to happen this year, because as part of my depth year, I am going deeper with the Marseille system, which I just learned at the end of last year. But who knows, maybe next year I will look more into learning the Thoth system. In terms of decks, I have only 3 that are Thoth-inspired, so this should be fairly quick. The first one that I bought, I knew right off the bat it was a Thoth-inspired deck, and that is the Sun and Moon Tarot. I watched a walkthrough of this deck from Kelly. Was it Kelly? Yeah, I watched Kelly from the Truth and Story do a walkthrough, and she basically decided that she would trim off the keywords and use this deck as an RWS. And so for part of the video, she showed what the deck looked like with the keywords trimmed off, and it looked amazing. And I thought, well, I really want that deck because the imagery is fantastic, and it's like nothing I have in my collection. But I don't know anything about Thoth, and I don't want to, and I don't typically like keywords on my tarot cards, so I'm just gonna follow suit and also trim off the borders, and I think it looks great. And so this is a deck that I use as an RWS deck. This next deck is inspired by both the RWS and the Thoth, as well as a number of other teachings and principles, and that is the Spirit Keeper's Tarot. So I knew when I purchased this deck that it has Thoth influences, but I had decided right off the bat that I was going to be using this as an RWS deck because, once again, I know nothing about Thoth, had no desire at that point in time to learn anything about Thoth, and so this is yet another deck that I have just been using as an RWS. This final deck is new to my collection. I got it in a trade, and it is the Star Tarot. So I had seen this deck last year, and I might have known then that it is inspired by both RWS and Thoth, but if I knew that then, I completely forgot when I did the tarot trade. And so this is one that I have not worked with yet, but I did read a little bit of the guidebook, the introduction, and that's where I found out that this does pay homage to both the RWS and the Thoth. So when I do begin working with this, probably next month, I will read the entire guidebook and we'll see what the differences are, you know, how the deck kind of interweaves RWS versus the Thoth, and if I decide to use the system created in the guidebook as the system that I want to keep for this deck, then I guess I will inadvertently be learning some Thoth aspects. So we shall see how I will be using this deck once I get to know it better. But this is definitely more, the minors are pip style, which I think is Thoth, although I can't be sure because I don't know Thoth. Like I said, I am now starting to think a little bit more about Thoth, especially because of this tag, and while I am not going to fully immerse myself in Thoth study this year, maybe next year. So thank you very much, Bosede, for a fun tag. It really got me to thinking. I would love to hear from all of you, whether it be through a VR or comment below. Let me know your experiences with the Thoth, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks so much. Take care.